on James all the way in.
And here comes Simmons the other way. 3-on-2. Simmons eludes the defender and lays it in with that. Certainly the length altered that shot. Out of the quick steps.
Let's talk some possible trades for this team, Bernie.
All right, let's do it. Let's talk some trades.
Somebody we talked about last week, but for a different team, going to a different team, Mr. Kemba Walker.
Kemba Walker, yeah.
The more and more I think about Kemba Walker being traded, I think the Cavs make so much sense for him.
Mm-hmm.
Just if they could finesse their way out of Isaiah Thomas and get Kemba Walker in that position, I think he does a lot. He doesn't necessarily score in the same, he doesn't score as much as Isaiah Thomas does.
Right.
But defensively, he's much more viable an option. And not only that, just like as far as being an unselfish player, not that Isaiah Thomas is necessarily the most selfish player, but he does shoot a lot. So Kemba Walker doesn't demand as many shots. He's better defensively, and he can make baskets where there shouldn't be one. I think he's a perfect fit. And honestly, just realistically, I think he's their best option to make a big move before the trade deadline.
I think the key word there is best option, because I do think that there is another option they could go. But just to talk about the Kemba Walker stuff first, he does fit in to that squad just a little bit. He's a little bit taller than Isaiah, and I think he gets a little bit more buckets than him. Defensively, I'm not sure about Kemba Walker. He's really good. I'm not saying that he's not a bad defender, but I think another option that they could go, and it's been talked about a little bit, is George Hill.
Okay. That's not a bad idea.
I think George Hill will be a cheaper buy for the Cavs.
Certainly.
He's making a lot of money, and the Kings aren't going anywhere this year. They're obviously going to be one of the worst teams in the NBA, and I think getting rid of Hill, sliding Fox into the starting role will be a better move for the Kings. And it kind of sucks because George Hill, for the past 7-8 years, has been like the trade bait of all trade baits.
Yeah.
I mean, it started with the Kawhi Leonard thing, and then he went to Utah, and then it's just, back and forth between different teams. Some of the trades that I looked for when I was just doing the trade machine is that you could get rid of J.R. Smith, Channing Frye. That'd be an option of those two.
Mm-hmm.
You could even get rid of Amon Shumpert and Kyle Korver.
The one big thing I would say with that is for the Kings, I feel like getting rid of George Hill would be a financial move.
Yeah, because he's making $20 million.
He's making a lot of money, so they wouldn't necessarily want to bring in big contracts like JR. He makes a lot of money. So I would just be curious to see how they would manage to do that. I feel like Shumpert makes a bit of money too, right?
Not as much.
Not as much as JR. JR makes a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, you could also... JR has a pretty lucrative contract. He's only making 13 this year. And I believe Channing Frye is making like 7.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. So, it equals out. And I think Channing Frye's contract isn't as... I think it's a really short contract, so it's really easy to just kind of brush his contract off. The only one I'm really curious about, I know Kyle Korver's making like around 7. Amon Shumpert's making like around, I want to say 10. But I just think those are just more viable options, because I think if you do trade for Kemba Walker, I think the one thing you might have to give up is a pick.
Mm-hmm.
Just like we've been talking about, with the DeAndre Jordan.
Like their own
Lou
first pick, right? Their own first-round pick.
I don't know if they have that.
Do they not have a first-round pick? Let me look it up.
I don't think they have their own. I think Charlotte will be looking for that Brooklyn pick.
That'd be tough. If they were... Because they would have to give up Isaiah, right? But they're not going to give up Isaiah Thomas and the Brooklyn pick for Kemba Walker.
Mm-hmm.
That's too much. Hold on, let me look up. I want to see if they have their pick. I thought they did, actually.
But, going on to this trade, there's other trade possibilities like DeAndre Jordan and Lou Williams. And you give up the Brooklyn pick there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a little bit more lucrative. The thing is, Colin Cowherd, I think I kind of agree with him here in the sense of, you try to do your best to win now because you're Cleveland. You're never going to get any of the superstar all-stars to come to your city.
Yeah.
You were lucky that LeBron was born in Cleveland.
Mm.
So he's, loyal to the city.
Cleveland has their own pick this year.
Do they?
Yeah, they have theirs and that Brooklyn pick.
I don't know. I just don't know I don't know if there's anyone in the draft later on that you would really.
The thing though is like if their regular season continues the way it is, that pick is still semi valuable, because it could be early in the 20s if they're, playing the way they are for the rest of the regular season.
Yeah, I just don't know. They do probably need to get rid of one pick, and it just depends on what you're willing to give up for it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Cleveland, it's almost too much of a mess to even try and figure out, really, because their contracts are just absolutely insane on some of these players. Like J.R. Smith and Tristan Thompson make so much money.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two of their most viable trade pieces, but they make so much money that it takes a lot of their value away on the market.
Yeah,
it's pretty tough.
I mean, the good thing is that Iman Shumpert only has 1 year left on his contract after this year. So in 2019 will be his last year.
Yeah.
So you could honestly just pick him up, have him there. If you really want to just trade him away to really relieve cap space, you can do that. But it's just going to be hard to see if anyone is going to be willing to trade with the Cavs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say that LeBron just kind of left the Cavs in a mess per se, but there have been some really bad contracts given to players that looks like they were not the right contracts to give.
Yeah.
But, you got to do what you do to keep happy. You did win a championship, so it's not like it was all for nothing.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's really crazy, this Cavaliers team, because they have so much that they need to do to fix their problems.
Yeah.
And I really don't know if it's gonna happen. I don't know if they're capable of fixing their problems.